Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, the premier source for Second Amendment news. I hope you were able to enjoy Labor Day. Before we jump into today's news, if you're watching the news like everybody else and you think that it could possibly be coming, now's the time to protect yourself on the back end legally. Join the USCCA. Link is right there on the screen. It's uscca.com/GNG. A little bit comes back to the channel to help out, but the big thing is it protects you in the event that you have to legally defend yourself, whether it's armed with a firearm or armed with any other legally held item. So let's jump into this lawsuit here. This is one of the many Bumpstock lawsuits that are circulating throughout the country, suing the federal government and the ATF, because the ATF, as we all know, changed the definition of a machine gun to include a slidey plastic piece that doesn't do anything in the gun. And that alone made over 500,000 people felons, because if you own a slidey plastic piece, you now have a machine gun. Now, there are several lawsuits going on across the country, so this one lawsuit might not be the one that you're focused on or affects your area. For instance, I know Tim over at Military Arms Channel, he's involved in one with GOA, but this lawsuit is with Utah gun rights advocate W. Clark Aposian and the New Civil Liberties Alliance. Again, they are challenging the fact that an administrative agency, the ATF, essentially rewrote the definition as set out by previous laws that are already on the book, something that the agency does not have the power to do. Now, a little backstory, if you're new to the firearms community, Bumpstocks, they have had numerous times in front on the carpet, you could say. Between 2008 and 2017, the ATF several times said that no, this does not do anything to turn a semi-automatic gun into full auto. If you aren't familiar with how the guns work, it's actually components inside the firearm that determines if it's full auto or semi-auto, not a slidey plastic piece. Semi-automatic means that every time you pull that trigger, one round is fired. So if you press and hold it, one round goes off and nothing happens again until you release and pull again, assuming you have ammo in the mag. But ATF redefined everything to make Bumpstocks machine guns. And this case went all the way to a 3-judge panel in the 10th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. I always get asked, does this affect my state? So if you live in these states, then this could affect you. Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Those are all in the 10th Circuit. Now in May of 2020, this 3-judge panel came down with a ruling 2-1 that upheld the ban. And the only dissenting judge, meaning the only judge that didn't agree, was actually a Donald Trump appointed judge by the name of Joel Carlson III. And one of his quotes, and I want to get it right so I'm going to read it from the screen, what he said was that the ban was an overreach, saying, quote, turning a blind eye to the government's request and applying Chevron anyway, the majority placed an uninvited thumb on the scale in favor of the government. Now, there's a lot going on there, but what he's saying, and I'll get to the Chevron thing in a second, but by using this Chevron Deference, the judges put their thumb on the scale of justice, and it definitely affected the outcome of this decision. Now, I have to tell you what the Chevron Deference is. It is a rule, if you will, that allows judges to default to an agency's decision on policy if it's ambiguous. And that's dangerous. Well, just use it here in this case. Many would agree that the ATF's Bumpstock rule, the final rule that they put out, is ambiguous. Does a sliding piece of plastic turn into a machine gun, even though the definitions that are on the book from Congress, that doesn't meet that definition, but the ATF did it anyway. Kind of ambiguous, right? Because there are defined rules that are in the laws, even though those are infringements as well. But now the ATF did something to cloud everything, so it's ambiguous. So the Chevron Deference allows courts to say, you know what, this is kind of cloudy, this is kind of murky. What does the ATF say on it? This is their policy. All right, we're going to side with that. And in instances where it's completely unconstitutional, using that deference puts a thumb on the scales of justice and tilts it towards, in this case, the ATF. So that 2-1 decision, again, came down in May, and obviously it was appealed for an en banc hearing. And this is where this is getting interesting. Last week, the 10th Circuit, which is based in Denver, Colorado, they agreed to an en banc petition on this case. And what they did was they vacated the decision, but at the same time, the petition to rehear it came up. So they're going to specifically look at if Chevron applies. If they say that Chevron doesn't apply, then it would come down to the constitutionality of what the ATF did, and do they have the authority to do that anyway, which we all know that they don't. We'll see what happens in court, right? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove when it is in court. And there's a really good quote here from a gentleman named Caleb Kruckenberg, who is the litigation counsel for the NCLA, the New Civil Liberties Alliance. And he said this: "The full 10th Circuit has recognized the troubling consequences of the panel's prior decision. Chevron deference cannot guarantee a win for an agency even when the parties agree it doesn't apply, because it contradicts the constitutional rule that criminal laws should be construed against the government. We look forward to the court setting a major precedent limiting Chevron's unconstitutional reach." And I agree. Anytime you're challenging an agency in the legitimacy of what they're doing, you're going to defer to what that agency's doing to decide the case. That's ridiculous. Now, you've heard a lot of talk about the 9th Circuit and how it's 11-judge panel, but each circuit does their own thing. The 10th Circuit, it's a 12-judge panel, and they will be rehearing that case, and as soon as there's information on that case, you know you can find it here on Guns and Gadgets. This is where you find all of the Second Amendment news, no matter where it happens. So please subscribe to the channel so that you stay in the know and help the channel in a way that is very easy and often overlooked. If you enjoy the news, hit the thumbs up. This helps break that YouTube algorithm. Share this with your friends and toggle that bell icon to all notifications. That does help, especially lately when YouTube has kind of changed some stuff. Also, let me know your opinion here. Do you think the ATF overstepped its bounds? Do they, in your book, do they have the ability to rewrite law? I want to hear you sound off down below. This is going to be a good one. So that's what we have here today. The 10th Circuit vacated the Bumpstock ruling, yet is taking it up based off of the Chevron deference. And hopefully this could be the chink in the armor that takes this stuff down. But I'll let you know when that happens. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. Have a great one. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.